What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I've had a few of you ask me to do it with the unlock settings and just take a look at TSR and that type of thing, so I figured why not. I'm really having a great time with this game, and I certainly don't mind making some more videos for it. So we'll take a look at performance here and what I'm kind of playing through a little bit with the unlock settings on the Steam Deck for this game, since really straight up from the dev, if you don't use the launch command, it's kind of locked down and that type of thing, as I did cover in a previous video. If you go here to our gear icon for our settings and our properties before we launch the game, and we go down to launch options, I do have that Steam Deck equals 0 space %sign command %. This allows you to launch the game with all the settings unlocked, VSync unlocked, and all of that. So into the settings here, we do still have TSR and XDSS, which we're pretty much going to use TSR, but we'll take a look at that. 800p full screen, no VSync here for the video, though you can enable that to stop any screen tearing on your deck. Medium AA, medium textures, everything else on low for this. Not that you can't try to tick a few things up, but we still wind up in the 20s at some points, 30s and 40s at others, and depending on what resolution scaling you're using and that type of thing, certainly going to affect your performance, as the game's very GPU bound here, especially on the Steam Deck. Now with XeSS on balanced here with around 32, 30, bouncing around 33 FPS here. If we go in and we turn on TSR like we had on just a moment ago on low, which is 50%, just like XDSS's balance that they list here, then we're going to be around 34 to 35. It's not a big jump, but it never dips down to the 30 that XeSS did in that spot. So anything we can gain, because especially when we're in battle or other areas of the game, we do come down into the 20s anyway. That's why I tend to use that. But XeSS or TSR are both working fine here with things unlocked, so use the one that you prefer and balance that out how you want. Getting into the combat here for this kind of open world area before we go into an instance, you'll see where it will have some frame time issues. It definitely goes all over the place when it comes to FPS, just like when I tested it with the unlocked settings. And you could lock this to 30 FPS. It's the same recommendation I had before on the Steam Deck, and it'll eliminate some of that. You're still gonna have times where you just go under 30 into those 20s and bounce back up. Even if you were to lower the two medium settings I have or get more aggressive with upscaling, it still just kind of runs that way. So I think this is a decent kind of happy medium. I didn't have any problem with the gameplay here. I do think sometimes XeSS looks a little bit better, but TSR gives me better frame rate and seems more stable, so it's really kind of hard to tell. Again, just use what your preference is there and adjust things how you want. At least with the settings unlocked, you get a little bit more control over how you want to run it. Now inside one of the instance areas, and I've done 3 of these so far on the Steam Deck, and they've all run the same. Basically 40s and 50s, sometimes reaching into the 60s, sometimes, especially in battle, going down into the 30s. But for the most part, these areas would run, 40 to 60 FPS. Going into cutscenes is always a little janky on all the handhelds, including still here with the settings unlocked. There's still little glitches and brightness bugs and different things that happen, and frame times can get weird sometimes, but ultimately it's fine. Getting into combat in the interior zones or the instance zones that we're in, for the most part, all of those ran the same and never really quite dipped as bad or had as bad a frame time issues as the external open world areas. But as you can see, frame rate and stuff still comes down pretty low. Again, a 30 FPS lock would keep you pretty clean there, except for those rare occasions it comes under 30. So again, at least with the settings unlocked, you get a little bit more choice here, how you want to adjust a few of the settings, use VSync or not use VSync, XeSS or TSR, whatever you're preferring, whatever you're looking for frame rate and image quality. We have a little bit more control this way, and this is what a lot of you guys are wanting to see, so I wanted to get it out there and show you this working in the game. But yeah, it's really going to depend on where you're at, what you're up to, and what your settings are, but I still think the game's pretty playable on the Steam Deck. It's certainly not the best way to play the game. It's such a gorgeous and fantastic game. I really do suggest playing it on more powerful hardware if you have it, or streaming it on something like GeForce Now or a console. But ultimately, it's playable on the go if you really want to do that on the deck, and this is another option here for settings and having some more control. But anyways, guys, as always, thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.